Before you buy an electric vehicle, be sure you understand one of the most fundamental issues that you'll face. EV chargers are not like regular fuel pumps. Sure, they kind of look the same. You drive up, put the nozzle in your car and let it fill up. But that's where any vague similarities end. If you go to a regular fuel station, it doesn't matter where it is or even what country it's in, you'll be able to fill up your car in the same amount of time, a few minutes. Likewise, whether the fuel station is full of other cars or completely empty, you'll be able to fill up in roughly the same time. But don't expect EV charging to be the same. Not only can the time it takes to charge vary wildly depending on the type of charger, but if there are other vehicles charging at the same time, it can affect the time it takes you to charge. Unless you're okay with all of this hassle and inconvenience, then the advice is simple. Don't buy an EV. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. If you want to help this channel educate as many people as possible about the insanity of EVs and net zero, click that subscribe button down below. Doesn't cost anything, and if you click the bell to enable all notifications, you won't miss out on any future videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, why not buy me a coffee? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. This is the first in a series of videos explaining the issues with EVs that people without some kind of science knowledge frequently struggle to understand. And that's because, let's face it, most people when they've left school, unless they go into a science or engineering job, immediately forget all the maths and physics they ever learned, which makes it hard to convey some of the problems with EVs. And one of them is what I call the charging conundrum, which is the inextricable link between the power of a charger and the length of time it takes to charge your battery. You want to charge in half the time, you need double the power. Let's dig into this. A fuel pump can transfer, say, 40 litres per minute of fuel into your car. It's just liquid being pumped from a tank buried underground and into your car. A simple process. The tank doesn't care how many people are filling their cars at the same time, and so there can be, say, 10 cars all filling at the same time and all getting 40 litres of fuel into their cars. This means that regular fuel stations are incredibly efficient. If you've got, say, 10 pumps, you can get through over 100 cars per hour. Which is why there are rarely long queues for fuel stations, unless someone decides they also want a sandwich and a takeaway coffee, of course. But the EV charger is very, very different. There is no tank to store the electricity, except of course, say, the net zero zealots' battery storage systems, but they are complex and wildly expensive. So there has to be a connection to the electricity grid. The problem is that that connection is itself like a pipe, which only a certain amount of electricity can flow down at once. You can, of course, make this pipe bigger by installing a bigger connection to the grid, but that too can become wildly more expensive. So few places will have the budget or the inclination to install either of these things, batteries or big pipes, and you'll be left with a narrow pipe with not much capacity. And this is where we come to the EV charging conundrum. If you want to charge your car in half the time, you need double the electrical power. Let's imagine for a minute a fuel station built like an EV charging station. Instead of having a tank of fuel in the ground, it has a pipe that leads all the way back to the fuel depot. And say that you have 10 stalls that you each want to be able to pump 40 litres per minute. So the simple math says that you'll need a pipe to the fuel depot that can carry 10 times 40 litres per minute. But that kind of pipe is really expensive. So okay, we'll just get a pipe that can carry 100 litres per minute. Still big, but less expensive than 400. As long as there are only 2 cars filling up at once, you'll be okay, because 2 times 40 is 80, which doesn't exceed the capacity of the pipe. Those 2 cars will still be able to fill up at full speed. But what happens if all 10 stalls are occupied and each car wants to refuel quickly at the full 40 litres per minute? Answer: they won't be able to, Because if you divide the 100 litre per minute connection by 10 fueling stalls, you're left with just 10 litres per minute, a quarter of what they actually want. Instead of filling up in 5 minutes each, they'll take 4 times as long, 20 minutes. Continuing this analogy, some fuel stations will have a larger pipe to the fuel depot, so you can always fill up quickly. But your fuel will be more expensive at those stations. If you're happy filling up slowly, your fuel will be cheaper. It sounds utterly ludicrous, doesn't it? But this is exactly how an EV charging station works. You hear stories of this happening in stations with just 2 stalls. You're standing next to your EV getting a nice fast top-up when somebody pulls up next to you, connects their EV, and suddenly you're getting half the power. And your charging stop will now take double the length of time it should have. So EV drivers in a hurry have to beg and plead for the arriving driver just to wait until the first driver has finished charging, so it doesn't slow them down. This is because the station owners can't afford a larger pipe to the grid, so it gets throttled when both stalls are used. This problem is only multiplied in larger stations, unless the owner has spent the extra cash on a larger pipe to the grid, which, given the wafer-thin margins on EV charging stations, is highly unlikely. And this also goes to explain why fast charging is more expensive than slow charging. Fast charging needs a bigger pipe, which is more expensive, and the charging station has to recoup not only that cost, but the ongoing cost of electricity when it's supplied at such high powers. This problem is baked into the laws of physics. You can't get around it. If you want to charge in half the time, you must double the amount of power in your charger, and more power means more expense. Many evangelists and pro-EV publications just don't understand this. One article talking about the mad BYD megawatt 5-minute charging car said that it has 2 charge points, so you can simply put 2 500 kilowatt chargers in at once, as if every random street corner has a spare 500 kilowatts just hanging around doing nothing. And I bet the other users of that station won't be thrilled to see one car suck an entire megawatt out of the pipe while they're trying to charge as well. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope it has dispelled some of the confusion around EV charging. If you're happy with all this, then go ahead and buy an EV. But for the rest of us, for whom all of this is a ridiculous hassle and inconvenience, just don't buy one.